I do want to ask 49ers fans this. Brock Purdy, is he overrated or underrated as a quarterback?
Well, that, and if I were to like extend it out to the entire roster,
yes.
Who's the most overrated player on the roster?
Yes.
Who's the most underrated player on the roster?
I love that. 888-957-9570.
I'm going to be honest. Like, I understand the value of a left tackle. I don't pretend like left tackle doesn't matter. But I'm kind of blown away with the rhetoric regarding Trent Williams. People are acting like Trent Williams is God.
Ted Wynn, The Athletic, joined the station yesterday, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Ted Wynn does an amazing breakdown. He does the X's and O's. Love me some Ted Wynn.
Yeah, what would he say?
He argued that Trent Williams is the most important player on the 49ers.
This offensive line is very average to below average, even though I think they drafted pretty well this year and there's some potential with the rookies this year. It's still just not a very proven group, and Trent Williams just kind of blosters this group by a ton. And not having him in, you might make the argument that Trent Williams could be the most important player on this offense because of what he provides for this offensive line and this group overall. And when you look at the statistics, Brock Purdy's stats doesn't drop a lot when some players miss games. But when Trent Williams misses a game, he really becomes a much less efficient quarterback.
I mean, look, he's really good. No, he's not good. He's excellent. But can you name who the left tackle was for the Chiefs last year?
Oh.
Because I know who it is this year.
I can't.
Yeah. They're starting a rookie this year who they drafted in the second round.
They got Creed Humphreys on the offensive line. That's all I know. Their center.
Can you name Tom Brady's left tackle?
They have Nate Solder for a while?
For a little bit.
Okay. Well, hey, that's one of them. So I was just saying. Trent Brown. He's right tackle.
He was right tackle. Yeah. But, I'm not saying it's not important. It's obvious. Offensive line is extremely important. And on this team, because of the right tackle situation, it's a vital piece. But I'm sorry. No, I'm taking running back and quarterback over Trent all day, every day. I think we're kind of lost in the sauce here, Niner fans. He's really good. He's freaking awesome. All right? He is. He's freaking awesome.
So we're over.
If I told you Trent was out, just hear me out. If I told you Trent was out for the year, does that hit the same way? McCaffrey's out for the year. Purdy's out for the year. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They could still function. Why am I paying the coach $20 million if he can't scheme up how to chip block around the left tackle? I'm not saying he's not really good. He's awesome. Trent is awesome. We are acting like winning and losing 10 games is dependent on Trent Williams. And I just categorically disagree.
So you're saying that Trent Williams is the most overrated 49er right now?
I think we're so deep in the weeds. We are acting like he is the greatest football player who's ever lived. And he's really good. And I like him a lot. And I think he's awesome. But I'm telling you right now, if Purdy went down for the season, it's a bigger loss than Trent Williams. Yes. Yes.
Because
and if McCaffrey went down for the year, it would be bigger than Trent.
Not physically, because Trent is a massive individual. But I get what you're saying. Hey,
he's great.
I will say
he's
this,
great.
though.
I don't want to lose him. I'm just saying, we're acting like the offense. They literally cannot hike the ball. I disagree with that. I watched this team with Joe Staley missed time in 2019. I watched this team do it with two dudes no one's ever heard of in Justin School and Mike McGlinchey. At right tackle.
888-957.
They figured it out.
888-957-9570. Not to cut you off there, Joe. Most overrated 49er currently, most underrated 49er currently. 888-957-9570. I know Ryan's out in Irvine. He wants to talk Kyle Shanahan. I want to ask Ryan this question right now. Ryan, I'm putting you on the spot. Most overrated 49er currently and most underrated 49er currently, and I'll let you get to your Shanahan thoughts after.
Oh, man. Overrated? George Kittle?
Wow. First team All-Pro last year.
I know, and I think he's overrated, and not by his own doing. I think he's just overrated because Kyle doesn't use him to his full potential. I know guys talk about him like he's the best in the league or second best in the league behind Kelsey, but I don't even think it'd be arguable if he was used a little bit more in the offensive game. But and then underrated, I think Trent Williams. I would say Trent, and I think it's just a ripple effect. You lose him,
your offensive line is terrible. You know, it's not good. I mean, they cover up. He covers up so many warts on that offensive line. Purdy can shift to the left. They run the ball almost predominantly to the left. You know, I think Trent Williams is, I guess, underrated. That would be my thing on that.
And Ryan, I know you want to talk Kyle Shanahan. What you got on Shanny?
I agreed with Shasky earlier. I would say the one thing that he needs to, I guess, improve on is just accountability. You know, you mentioned Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is like the polar opposite with how he talks to the media and everything. He's a politician. I think he says what he thinks people want to hear more than how he actually feels. But, yeah, I think if Kyle could be a little more honest with himself, even to the public, it would help a lot with maybe changing some of his decisions in big moments. But this was my question. You look at similarities between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan, especially when he was in Philly. Here's my question. If you could guarantee that the Niners would win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years if they got rid of Kyle Shanahan, would you do it?
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate your call, Ryan. 888-957-9570. If you can guarantee winning a Super Bowl, but you get rid of Kyle Shanahan within the next 3 years, yeah. Yes. See ya, Shanny. I'm winning a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. I can win with Doug Peterson and fire him out. I just need the Super Bowl. That's all I want in my life.
We're down so bad.
Come on.
We're down psychologically so bad.
888-957-9570. Most overrated 49er currently, most underrated 49er currently on the team right now. By the way, did you know what George Kittle did in the Super Bowl to his point? I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes. I said first team All-Pro. You know what he did in the Super Bowl? You know what his stat line was?
2-3 catches. I think he had the one out on 4th down.
2 receptions for 4 yards.
Yeah. Well,
he had 4 more yards than you and me.
Did you watch the receiver, Doc?
Yes.
He couldn't even lift his arm for 3/4 of that game.
I'm just saying. Like, I can understand where people say, like, in big games where it's just like, the biggest one. And he's had some big moments. I'm not going to say that, but I don't hate it overall.
I think Juwan Jennings is criminally underrated for this team because in all the big games, he kind of flies under the radar.
He's a third
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, guys like him, they're such an afterthought. You're never even, like, right now, if you're asking me who is the most overrated off of 1 year in terms of pay, not meeting the production and the hype, Javon Hargrave. Javon Hargrave, like, he had a couple of nice games, but you're giving this guy $20-something million a year, and I didn't see anything from him. Like, at least I know Trent, like, and I was kind of, sparking it a little to try to get the audience engagement here, but Trent's really good. I don't know how good Javon Hargrave is. He was good with the Eagles. Like, that's when he left a lot to be desired for me.
I think that Eagles team had so much more depth, too, defensively, with Reddick, with Fletcher Cox,
we talked more
Jordan
about
Davis.
him than any of the broadcasts did during the game. Like, he wasn't in the backfield at all. No. He didn't stop the run. He didn't get sacks. He wasn't creating pressures. I was thoroughly unimpressed with Javon Hargrave, especially given how much money they allocated to him.
Joe Hayward. 888-957-9570. Most overrated 49er, most underrated 49er, Joe and Hayward. You're on with the Morning Roast.
Yeah, like Shasky's good. Hargrave, most overrated, underrated, Brock Purdy.
Underrated? Brock Purdy's underrated?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Joe and Hayward. Again, we're responding to an ESPN article. 103 anonymous NFL players gave their most overrated quarterback, gave their most underrated quarterback. Josh Allen was voted the most overrated quarterback. Brock Purdy tied with Matt Stafford as the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? 888-957-9570. The last one was the biggest trash talking quarterback. They did that. They pulled that. Josh Allen was winning that one too. Big trash talker.
I know
Josh
Phillip
Allen.
Rivers every year.
Oh God, I love Phillip.
Was all over it.
I love to hate Phillip Rivers because obviously he's a Charger. I'm a Raider guy, but he would talk trash but not cuss. He was a big Catholic guy, had 400 children. I get it. I'm one of 10. I get it. But he was like a by golly or gosh darn it kind of a guy. I love me some Phillip Rivers. He'd get in your face too.
Yeah.
He'd go at the refs all the time. Rolando every time.
Do you think anybody thinks Bosa is underrated or overrated? Do you think anyone thinks that Deebo Samuel is overrated or underrated? Charvarius Ward? I'm trying to think of some, like, they have some mega stars on this team.
They do. I wonder how many people think the head coach is overrated or underrated.
So we're talking a lot about, like, you're going to miss this guy. You're going to miss this guy. I'm very interested to see what this team looks like week in, week out throughout the ups and downs of a season without Trey Greenlaw for like long stretches of the season. I think he is one of the more underrated players in the organization the last 5 years. You want to talk about a guy that separates dudes from the ball? He creates unbelievable tone-setting momentum for this team early in games. Obviously, his spatial awareness as a linebacker in tandem with Fred Warner is outstanding. Like those are big shoes to fill for D. Winters.
I was going to say, we got Devondre Campbell right now, D. Winters, Fred Warner, Curtis Robinson, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, Tatum Bethune.
I like Bethune. You know I've been on that name
it's a great name.
All year.
You know what else is a great name? Benito in Palo Alto, baby. Benito, you're on with the Morning Roast, Spadoni and Shasky. Most overrated 49er and most underrated 49er currently.
To me, underrated is Trent Williams. The caller earlier said, we run to the left. Who's on the left there? Overrated, Kyle Shanahan. As you guys touched earlier on Dak, Kyle's the same way. He can win a lot of seasonal games, but when it comes to playoffs, when it really matters, he chokes. He was the OC in Atlanta, and guess what? He was the OC for the Niners along with being the head coach. He makes the calls. He cannot make adjustments after halftime, so he's overrated.
Fair enough. That's Benito in Palo Alto, 888-957-9570. We're doing most overrated and most underrated San Francisco 49ers currently on the roster.
From where you sit, who's your most overrated?
Wait, he just said Kyle Shanahan is the Dak Prescott of NFL coaches. That's basically what he just said. That's a hot take. Come on. Dak's never even been to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan's done it twice.
He's never even
sniffed it.
Yeah.
They haven't been to the NFC Championship game
30
since
years.
Yeah, come on. For me, the most overrated San Francisco 49er currently. Ooh, that's a good one. Most overrated. I'm going to get some heat on this one. I think Charvarius Ward's a little overrated. Okay. I don't think he's I view like a legit number one corner. I think he's the number one corner for this team.
Yeah.
I see him get picked on at sometimes. I do see that a little bit. He's very physical. I saw him a lot in the AFC West when he was a Chief. Mm-hmm. I saw Hunter Renfrow, who's currently a free agent still for some reason, cook him multiple times. I think and again, little things like that. I just don't think I don't view him as a top flight shutdown corner as you might a L'Jarius Sneed or a McDuffie over on the other side.
I mean, how many of those guys are in the league?
There's not a lot. I'm just saying.
Sauce Gardner by name.
Well, he's a guy, right?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, there aren't a lot.
You're right.
I don't think, they signed him to a contract that represents he's one of those. I think he's CB1 here, but that doesn't mean he's a lockdown
correct.
corner.
And again, we're splitting hairs here.
That's the hardest position.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
This league.
It's very difficult.
I mean, you're guarding Mike Evans one week. You're guarding, Tyreek Hill the next week. And
very difficult.
DK Metcalf. Yes. And then, it's just this league with receivers. Justin Jefferson. It's crazy. And I think Ward's pretty good.
He is pretty good. I said just slightly overrated. That's okay.
I know. I like that. I find that interesting. And then who's underrated?
Underrated for me.
For you.
It's a great one.
888-957-9570. Who are your I think you can make an argument for a lot of guys.
I think we underrate just how important and special Deebo Samuel is with this team. I really do think we underrate Deebo. He is so unique within this offense. Do we forget what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles last year?
It was one of the all-time.
He single-handedly ended their season. That was it. The Eagles weren't winning anything else after that.
It was one of the greatest, let me write a check that I will go cash on your face, moments in sports I can remember.
It was
incredible.
It was Mortal Kombat finish him levels, uppercut, head getting knocked out. That was what it was.
He said goodbye to an entire city of people.
He did.
That was incredible. In the rain.
To Big Dom.
God, it was incredible.
Later, Big Dom.
Big Dom. I hate you and Big Dom. It drives me insane. I hate Big Dom.
Might be my cousin. I don't know. We'll see. Trucker George is out in East Oakland. He wants to join in the conversation.
What's up, Trucker George?
What's up, Truck?
Hey, guys. How you guys doing? How's my reception over there?
You sound swell. You sound great.
Hey, well, first things first. Kyle Shanahan has made leaps and bounds around the league. The zone block scheme, which he got from his dad, has dominated. The jet sweep philosophy is all around the league. Everybody's throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. We are truly seeing Kyle Shanahan changing or, disorientating and moving everything around. And the whole league is kind of copycat. And anybody getting down on our coach, man, it's been a rough couple of years. I'll give you that. I was a little depressed and sad come like January, February myself. But, I believe we're finally going to get over the edge just like his dad did. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Great call. I wanted to hear his most overrated, underrated.
But he just wanted to defend Kyle Shanahan. I'm not mad at that. Again, that was a lot of the conversation this morning, Kyle Shanahan. And some people may feel he is the most overrated, or they might feel he's the most underrated. That's what we're talking about, 888-957-9570. So Brock Purdy, is he the most underrated quarterback in the NFL? I think that's fair. Just given what he was a top 5 MVP candidate all last season. Now we're just acting like he stinks.
Do you think Bosa's underrated or overrated?
I think he's properly rated. I think he had a somewhat down year for Nick Bosa standards, which is still better than most people. He's a DPOI.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, we have a lot of like Raider fans that listen to this, and gets compared to Max Crosby. Max Crosby does a lot of different things than Nick Bosa. I think Nick Bosa is a lot like stronger and he gets the sack production, but I think Max does a lot of the stuff where it's not as sexy, but he stuffs the run. He has a lot of tackle for losses. Like, that's his thing. And he's available every single day. That's another thing. And I hear you, Monte, talk about it a lot. That bothers you guys. And you were there in person. Like, biggest moments of the game, Bosa was on the sideline, like, taking a breather. Like it's a tough look. It's a tough look.
Can't happen this year.
It can't. And a guy that prides himself on his physicality and his stamina and stuff like that. And I would love to know Carter and Ken's here in a second.
Yeah, I want to hear Carter's,
let's get to San Leandro Mo first.
San Leandro Mo.
Hey, San Leandro Mo's got a rejoin for us. If you guys want to hit us up at the rejoin, 888-957-9570. You can do it on the spot if you want, like San Leandro Mo did. Hit us up on Instagram. What's up, Mo?
Yeah, what's up, Joe and Joe, with my cup of Joe in the morning? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, brother. What you got?
All right. Real quick, before I do my overrated, underrated, I need to walk it back. Niner fans, if there's anything I learned, it's to trust Kyle Shanahan. I know he's, in these last 2 Super Bowls, but hey, I'm very critical of Kyle Shanahan. But trust the process, man. Trust what he's doing. So just stay patient. My overrated, I don't know how this guy made the team. Devondre Campbell. I thought he should have been cut. Maybe in place of Jalen Graham, keep Devondre Campbell.
I'm with you on that.
Underrated, this guy improved solid, who I don't think is going to be able to, they're going to bring him back because of Brock Purdy's contract. Aaron Banks, Oakland is on. So there's my 2.
I like that. Fellas. Yeah, I wonder what his value is as a guard. They have traditionally not paid guards. Yeah. They allowed Tomlinson to walk in free agency and use the Aaron Banks draft pick to supplement that. So, I don't know. I would like to keep Aaron Banks, though. I think he fits. And I think his loss right now, not being in the offensive line, is really going to be felt.
Kyle Shanahan's been so good and such a maestro with that stuff. I just go back to every single time they played Aaron Donald, and like outside of the NFC Championship, again, the biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
He had a massive play, got they handled like the Rams and Aaron Donald. Like, that was the one team you circled defensive line-wise every single year, twice, obviously, in the regular season. And it doesn't matter if it was Justin School. It doesn't matter if it was Laken Tomlinson. It doesn't matter if it was Aaron Bay. Like, Shanahan just finds a way to mix and match these offensive lines. To your point, like, yeah, you got Trent Williams, you got McKivitz, but anyone else, it's fine. Because you just have faith in him in the offensive line. It is what it is. But Dominic Pooney, everyone's talking about him. He's the guy, Joe Shasky. Dominic Pooney, if Baldy loves him, we'll see. Speaking of Baldy, he joined us yesterday. And we'll continue to take your calls and texts, 888-957-9570. We're going to get to Carter and Ken's most overrated 49ers and underrated 49ers here in just a second. I do want to hear what he had to say in regards to quarterback ranking lists.
Ooh.
Because I do think we're kind of basically doing a ranking, right? Underrated, overrated, who would you rank him, who would you not?
Well, I think it's a fun exercise.
Here's what Baldy thinks about these kind of lists.
Well, you heard George Kittle when he said it's something when he steps into a huddle, and guys like Trent Williams and Deebo and McCaffrey, like they feel more confident when he delivers the play. Like their confidence level goes up. You heard Nick Bosa go, how in the hell are you so good? Like, how did you do this? Like, how are you so confident and so good? Like, that's all that really matters is what those guys think about him in the locker room. The lists are the list. I don't know how you could put Justin Herbert, honestly, above Brock Purdy on any level. I mean, he's been injured. He's never, playoffs. Like, you could go on any list. Yeah, you go out there and you watch Justin Herbert throw a football. He wows you. You go out there and watch Brock Purdy win games. That wows me.
See, that was interesting to me. I wonder if you pulled NFL GMs right now, all of them.
They're probably all taking Herbert.
Are they?
Yeah, I think.
Are they every single one taking Justin Herbert?
You know why? Because he's a top 5 pick who is 6'5" and looks the part and throws a beautiful ball and all that. And if you're baking into the equation, he did a lot of his work with Brandon Staley. Yeah, I think a majority of GMs are probably going to go Herbert.
Baldy's not though. Carter, most overrated and underrated 49er for you, brother.
Mine would be Hargrave is the most overrated, no doubt. I mean, I have to take into account the money here.
It's just unreal.
Yeah, the money has to be taken into account. I was going to say Hufanga, honestly, but he's on a rookie deal still. I mean,
he's a 5th round pick.
Yeah, they haven't paid him.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little overrated, frankly, for where people thought he was.
Although we could have used him in the Super Bowl.
100% agree. And then underrated, I think there's one clear-cut person. I think that Dre Greenlaw is the most underrated player maybe in the NFL. He's a top 5 linebacker in the NFL, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, it's interesting. Like, we do underrate certain players. Like, for example, if I tell older Niner fans that are about my age, Carter, Ahmed Brooks, you're never going to remember him from those teams, right? He was really good. Yeah. He would always make plays. He'd jump off sides every game. He'd jump off sides every single game. But if you look at the all-time like sack list, I think he's like top 6 or something like that, all-time in sacks for Niner history, which, again, if I polled 100 fans, I don't know how many of them would be able to even know that. Criminally underrated. He's not the guy you instantly think of. You're going to go Willis, Bowman, Justin Smith, Aldon Smith, maybe Deshaun Goldson or the Hitman or whatever. You're never. But Ahmed Brooks was really good.
Honestly, Justin Smith was underrated on those teams.
No doubt.
Too.
But I would also say that most Niner fans had tremendous respect for him. Ahmed Brooks doesn't command that same. And I'm not saying Justin's better than Ahmed Brooks, but we forget about him. Greenlaw flies under the radar on this team because they have so many all-world players. He's just a tone setter. He's just an unbelievable player. And anytime they need a big hit near the sideline, this dude comes through with it.
It's whenever you have the player that you play right across from, whether it's a wide receiver and it's like Michael Irvin and whoever the other guy was or the other team, or it's
Alvin Harper.
Alvin Harper, exactly. See, I just said it. I don't remember, but he was underrated. He was very good. Super Bowl champion multiple times, right? Yeah. Very good.